What's up, guys? Welcome to round number 8 of the Output Racing League here from the ISM Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona. As you can see, we've already got a couple of cars on track. It's been a pretty interesting practice session so far. People trying to figure out where it is they should be braking. Oh! So we see the 42 there of Dylan Alt going for a whack into the wall. So far, very small field, but hopefully within the near future it'll pick up a little bit. So we're just going to go take a quick little trip in the track to show you what it's like to drive around here at the ISM Speedway. It's a fairly difficult track and hopefully I can do it justice. Right, so pit lane is different to how the old track is set up, but once you get on track, everything pretty much just falls into the same kind of area. There's multiple lines that you can take throughout the corners, and especially in the dog leg. You want to try to brake between the first and the second set of cones there. Get on the gas fairly early. If you're trying to do a fast lap, you want to get down as low as you can in the dog leg here. Brake at the second cone for turn 3. I didn't brake quite hard enough there, so I drifted out wide. But you'll probably see a lot of people just going out to the normal line through here. And you got a fairly difficult pit lane to get onto as well. But we'll do that on the next lap. Alright, just make sure that my thing is muted there. A couple different ways you can get onto the pit road. You can wait until you're around the corner like this. I probably did that a little bit wrong. Or you can go drive straight up through the apron there, which is what I'd usually do. Alright, we're going to get back out of here now. Going to let the professionals take over. And apparently I've got a couple of technical hitches that I've got to deal with, so I'm going to turn the sound off and I'll be back fairly shortly. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Glitches are now sorted, and we should be going again good and proper. As you can see, we've got the 42 car of Dylan Alt here heading out onto the track. He had a great debut last week, just not that good in luck. And as you can see, he's not having a fun time here. He's too used to the cup cars here, and that's making him struggle a little bit. We also have Steve Turner on track right now. Steve is currently in the second position with a 26.688, just 5 thousandths of a second behind Tommy Bordeaux, who has the top spot right now. As you can see that Steve is coming up to the back of Robert Collins there. Ooh, Steve nearly getting into the wall. I think that was enough to spook him a little bit. We see we've also got Brandon Bennett on the track as well. Right, so we've got about 13.5 minutes left here in the practice session, so I think what we're going to do is we're just going to set it to focus on the crashes. And we're just going to let the engines speak for themselves. And as I say that, we see that Thomas Harmon has arrived. He definitely thinks this is one of his bogey tracks, but we'll see how much fluff he's been talking. Because he reckoned that Texas was a bogey track as well. Oh, sorry, Las Vegas was a bogey track as well, but he got the win. Actually, no, he didn't get the win, did he? But he did do very well. Oh, we see Steve has bended into the fence. Doing a big old dirty burnout because he's probably a little bit frustrated with himself. As we see Dylan Alt getting it all wrong coming off of turn 2 there. Steve continuing to beat his car up a little bit. We'll just sit here and watch Steve doing his burnouts. Oh, look at the tires burning the rubber. And he has blown the engine, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, we're now going to have a look at Thomas Harmon here. We're going to go gyro cam on him as he tries to hunt the top spot in the practice standings here. And you hear there, he geared down. That's something that I haven't been too successful with, is the gearing down in the corners. We'll see if it works for him. And that lap was a 27.3, which is much slower than his fastest lap. In fact, that's slower than my fastest lap. It seems he's given up the ghost on it. We're going to go back to focusing on the crashes. Only a couple cars on the track. In fact, oh, it says that Jaren's on track and he's just given it up. As it looks like we've got a flurry of activity coming out onto the track now. We're into the final 10 minutes. Everyone wants to start laying down some serious laps. So everyone's going up as high as they can in turn 3 to get the runoff of turn 4 to start their laps off just right. Let's see if Jaren can improve his position from 4th. And nope, he got into the wall there. As we're now looking at Dylan Alt and Steve doing burnouts again. He must have Kamagutsu coming off of turn 4. Alright guys, I'm going to go back quiet for the next few minutes as we sit here and just watch and listen to the sights and sounds that is the B-Class cars here at Phoenix ISM Speedway. Alrighty, we're back for the final few minutes here. We're going to go focus on Thomas Harmon for a little bit. He's still trying to improve. He's down in the 6th position behind Matt Burgess, of all things. Our surprise podium winner from last week. And Thomas is trying to do a flyer. Let's see what he can do. This lap is a 27.1. Not quite fast enough for what he wants. We'll go and have a look at Matt Burgess now. Currently sitting in the 5th position. He's coming into the pits. So now we're going to go and have a look at Dylan Alt in the 42 car. And we're going to go off his nose. It looks like he's just finished a run. He did. Did 26.7 on that lap. So everyone's trying to work on short run pace right now. So it's a bit hard to focus on just one car. Because they're all generally just going out, laying a lap and then coming back in. Right now, Thomas Harmon is actually the only car on track. He's done a 27.016 on that previous lap. What can he do on this one? And it is a 27.211. He's not going to be happy with that one at all. As we see Dylan Alt's coming back out onto the track now. With a big old dirty burnout. Oh, he was just doing a burnout and a half donut, and that was it. You see Jaren's doing a burnout now. Look at him burning that rubber. Oh! Smashed. So we see Thomas is coming back out for another run now. Let's go and have a look at his nose cam. This is the closest view to the track that you're gonna get. And in fact, that is the end of practice right there, guys. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back when they start to grid. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back as the cars are starting to grid. Very small field at only just 8, but here they are. Now, in a massive surprise, we have got Matt Burgess starting off the pole. On his outside in the 57 is Tommy Bordeaux. Matt qualified with a 26.791. Out of P3, we're going to have the 42 of Dylan Alton. On his outside, Steve Turner. Starting out of P5, we have the 38 of Thomas Harmon, and on his outside will be the 41 of Brandon Bennett. Out of P7, we're going to have the 2 of Robert Collins, and on his outside, with a very big surprise, is the 4 car, the league owner and operator, Jaron Sanchez. So we're just waiting for the gridding process to finish, and then we're going to start getting these boys rolling off and ready to race. It's a little bit sad to see such a small field, but that just means that the racing is going to be so much better. A little bit of useless information, including myself. The strength of field for this race is a 23.68. So we got a pretty good strength of field here, as we're going to start clicking into gear very shortly and rolling off of the grid. You see Dylan Alt trying to make position already, putting it 3 wide for the front 3 there. Alright, we're here to do 90 laps of the ISM Speedway in the Xfinity cars. It should be a very good race. We're going to watch this one from the right rear quarter panel of... That's not the rear, this one's the rear. Of the pole sitter, Matt Burgess, as he's looking at the front of Dylan Alt there, starting out of P3. And we are off and underway to start round number 8 of the Output Racing League. You see Matt has gotten a pretty damn good start. Coming through turns 1 and 2 there, he takes the dog leg. It looks like he's still got Dylan right on his butt. We'll go back to the live cameras now. These two are starting to pull away already. Looks like we've got a bit of a battle there starting to form for 3rd place with Tommy, Steve and Thomas. Thomas has gone for a move on Steve, takes the dog leg to get that extra run on him. And he gets the position. That's 4th place for Thomas, as we've got a battle for the lead as well. I noticed there going into turn 3 and 4 that Dylan was trying to pull the inside move on Matt, and it just wasn't quite there. See everyone ducking and weaving, dipping and diving, as Dylan is now under threat of losing his 2nd position to Tommy. He's got the inside run coming out of turn 4, doesn't quite have the momentum to get it done though. And Tommy is at threat of losing 3rd place to Thomas on the outside. Doesn't look like he's going to get it, and Steve has in fact come up to the inside of Thomas, and he takes 4th place away. And Matt Burgess is mostly just unhindered out here at front. As these guys are just battling amongst themselves for these early positions. You see Tommy was taking a rather low line going through the apron a little bit there. Can he get the move done? No, not quite. In fact, he was at threat of losing it there to Steve on the outside. Seems that outside run coming off of turn 4 is pretty damn good. And Steve elects not to take the dogleg there, and he gets some good momentum coming into turn 3. And Steve is now up into the 3rd position. And Tommy has dropped back into P4, just ahead of Thomas. As they come thundering down through the dogleg there, Steve is still electing not to take the dogleg. He doesn't want to damage his car. The more you use the dogleg, the more it hurts your car. And the more it hurts your tyres as well. As we take a little look back here a little bit to the back of the pack, it looks like Jaron has made his way past Robert and Brandon and gotten into the 6th position. And he starts making his charge towards the leading pack here. As we're going to go back to our leading car right now, which is still Matt Burgess. And you see behind him, you know, they're still battling. Oh! We had a tap. Dylan Alt's been tapped into the wall. Looks like he's got some fairly sizable damage, and he's going to lose out on a lot of position. As it stands right now, he has dropped all the way back to P7. And if his car has too much damage, he might have to pit for repairs. As you can see, his right front quarter panel there is a little bit on the damage side. Oh yeah, that's not looking too pretty at all. As we go up now and have a look at Steve, who looks like he's starting to close in on Matt Burgess a little bit there. Can Steve get around Matt? Matt is still carrying on his momentum from last week when he got that podium and the Hard Charger award. If Steve's going to do it, he's going to have to do it down low because Matt's not going to give up that slightly higher line for him. It looks like Thomas is trying to make a run on Tommy. Couldn't quite get it pulled off there. And these 4 are just checking out from the rest of the field. They have 2 seconds over 5th place Jaron Sanchez. And Jaron has a couple of seconds over the 6th place car, which is now Dylan. And Steve is making a move for the lead on the low side of Matt. Can he get the speed and grip? Not quite. That momentum up high is just too strong. And now Steve looks like he's going to lose 2nd spot to Tommy, who is charging hard around the outside. Oh, but Matt just made a mistake. He went too deep into that corner, ran really wide. Steve has taken the dog leg. And he is pulled side by side with Matt. Matt's starting to drop back, and Steve has taken the lead. Tommy is on the inside of Matt. This racing at the front is absolutely heart-thumping. If this doesn't get your adrenaline going, and I don't know what will. As we see, 3 wide for 2nd place. And Matt Burgess, the big loser there, has gone from 1st to 4th in a matter of a couple of laps there. Tommy's moved his way up into P2 and Thomas is in P3. But Jaron is closing. The more these 4 battle, the closer to them Jaron will get. Let's have a look from Jaren's nose to see his progress is catching up to these guys. You heard there that Jaren shifted down for the first corner there. It seems like it is working for him. And even in turns 3 and 4 he's shifting down. Oh, but he taps the wall. Let's hope that doesn't slow him up too much. As you can see, everyone thundering down the back area here. Looks like things have settled down at the very front there. Even if it's just for the moment. Still a lot of race to go. We just started lap 20, which means we have completed 19 of the 90. Or I might be wrong in getting a lap ahead of myself. It looks like Thomas is trying to make a move on Tommy. Let's go have a look from Thomas's nose. Because he is right up the backside of Tommy here. If you ever wanted to know what the underside of a NASCAR looks like, well, there it is. And Thomas just about making a move on the inside. Couldn't quite get his nose up in there properly. Let's go have a look at what's going on from the chopper cam now. And they're also right on the back of Steve, the leading car. And Tommy gets his nose up underneath Steve. Can he get the run going through the dogleg? Tommy's just side by side with Steve now. And Tommy's got the inside run. Can he get the grip? Thomas is in behind him. Steve didn't get the best of runs, neither did Tommy. Tommy is scored as the leader of that lap. And it seems that we've lost Thomas. Oh, he's back. Tommy has taken the lead away from Steve, and Thomas is now taking the dogleg. These guys are fighting tooth and nail for the win. And we're only 22 laps into the race. Oh, Thomas got a little bit wrong. Got a little bit of a tap from Steve saying that he didn't appreciate the way that he took that corner. If this doesn't turn you on, then folks, you haven't got a switch. This is absolutely awesome. It's so exciting that I forgot that I've got coffee that I need to drink, or else my mouth is going to go dry. Looks like Steve caught the wall a little bit there and he's dropped back very slightly. As we go to the Goodyear blimp and have a look at the action going on now. Get a little bit of a wider view. We're going to go have a look out from the back of Tommy's car now. And Thomas is right there. Look at that. He's just looming. Oh, and Thomas has gone for the run down low. He's got his nose there. Didn't quite get the run. But he was very close, that is for sure. Now these guys have just absolutely left Matt Burgess in the dust, and also Steve is starting to get left behind too. Steve is over a second back. Matt Burgess is starting to fall into the clutches of Jaren actually. Yeah, that gap is definitely getting a lot smaller there, but we're going to go back focusing on the leaders because there is a battle unfolding right now. Looks like Thomas is having a little bit of internet issue, blinking out very slightly, but he has got the position on Tommy, and he is now the leader of this race. He got the low run going through the dogleg and got the position going through 3 and 4. And now Tommy is fighting back. He wants that position back. He says, "Not today, Tommy. Thomas, you've been winning too much, mate. It's my turn." As we should be getting pretty close to seeing some green flag stops soon. I don't think anyone's really been practicing a very long run. So it'll be interesting to see everyone getting into the pits on old tyres. And where do they decide to do it? There's also the strategy call, you know, who takes how much fuel. Because I don't think I'll see anyone taking 2 tyres because that's just too risky. And it looks like Thomas has blinked. Thomas is going to come into the pits. Let's have a look at his entry. Oh, Tommy's coming into the pits too. That was very close to a commitment line violation. And Steve has joined these guys in the pits. And this has re-promoted Matt Burgess into the lead. But let's just see how these guys go coming out of the pits. So coming in, Tommy was first, Thomas second, and Steve third. Looks like Steve went for a fast repair on this one. They're going to leave the same way they came in. As we go now and focus on Matt Burgess again, looks like Jaron is also in the pits. He didn't slide through. And here comes Matt making his pit stop now. Be interesting to see where he comes out compared to the 3 leaders. And Dylan Alt has now reassumed the lead of this race. Looks like Matt made a good stop there. Didn't look like he slipped through his pit box at all. So we're going to go have a look at Dylan and how he's doing. He's sitting on the back of the trio who've already made pit stops. And they must have just unlapped themselves from him. Now when does Dylan make his stop? He says, "Not yet. I don't want to make it yet." He's obviously going for the long game. He wants to try and run the overcut. Oh, as we see, we got a spinner there. And in fact, we've even got a caution. That is Thomas. Oh no, Thomas Harmon's gone for a spin. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened there. See the 41 getting into the fence. That's not what we wanted to see. Doesn't look like it's going to show us. We'll have to see if we can have a look at it later on. So this is really shaking things up here. Because we've only got 4 cars on the lead lap. So the top 4 are, well, at least 2 of them are definitely going to be pitting. In fact, even Tommy's coming into the pits. Brandon Bennett in the 41 has stayed out as Jaron gets the wave around. I think Brandon stayed out so he can get the leader lap bonus points. But this caution benefits Tommy the most, because Tommy did just make a stop, but the other guys who made a stop with him are a lap down. So we see Brandon make his way to the pit road now. And Jaron making his way into the pits behind him. There you go, Brandon's officially got his points for leading the lap. But this will put Dylan Alt back in control of this race. And it'll put Matt, Thomas and Steve on the back of the lead lap with slightly used tyres. But that's another person who this caution has benefited, is Matt Burgess. Because he was quite the fair way back, and when he pitted, you know, he was still in front of the leading guys. So when we get the one to go, these guys will get their wave arounds, which is right now. The lights are out. We've got one lap until we go green. These guys are going to go join in on the back of the pack. As we see these front guys starting to form up now, getting ready for the restart. As I see everyone's starting to catch up to the pack now, they gotta hurry. Pace car's in, the restart's on the 42. And he's going now, green flag is back out. And he gets an almighty jump on the rest of the pack. As we can see, Robert Collins in the 2 car has put his way up into the second position there for the restart. He's lost it straight away to Tommy. Oh, as we see 12 of Matt Burgess into the wall. That damage is going to do him no good whatsoever. As we're going to keep our eye on the 2 car here. He's not the fastest, but he is right up there due to strategy. Right behind Robert is the 4 of Jaron Sanchez. And right behind Jaron is Thomas. Jaron gets a run down low on Rob. Can he get the position made? And he does, going into turn 3. Thomas tried going with him. Couldn't quite get the move going. But Thomas is still there underneath him. Can he get the pass made? As they go through 1 and 2. And yes, he can. So we're going to go back and have a look at the leaders here. We've still got Dylan in the lead in the 42. Right behind him is the hard-charging Tommy, who has fresher tyres than the guys just behind him. The fastest lap of this race so far has been done by Tommy Bordeaux at a 26.859. And everyone's last lap was in the 27s. The fastest time of the last lap was just done by Tommy Bordeaux at a 26.925. He is the only one running in the 26s right now. That's what you would expect, as he is one of the faster guys and he is on fresher tyres than most of the field. But Dylan is doing a really good job with holding him off. He's just covering all the lines that Tommy would normally take to do the overtake. As we're going to go through the field a little bit here. You can see Dylan's in the front. Tommy's in P2. Coming out of P3 right now, we have Jaron in the 4 car. P4 is Thomas in the 38. P5 is still Robert in the 2 car, which is very good for him. P6 is currently Steve. He won't be happy about that. P7 is the 12 of Matt Burgess, who did have that big whack into the wall. And currently in the 8th position is Brandon Bennett, who seems like he is a fair way behind the rest of the field. We're going to go back and have a look at the leaders here, because this battle is starting to get pretty intense. We're going to watch it from Chopper Cam. Chopper Cam is provided to us by Speedway Memes. They spend a lot of money in a lot of these camera angles to make it look good. You can see Tommy does have the pace, but he just can't find his way around. That's got to be really frustrating. Tommy has the run. He dives down low to take the dogleg to get around the 42 of Dylan. Can he get the move done in turn 3? No, Dylan dives it in deep to try and keep it there. He's pinching him down low. And Dylan gets the momentum on the outside and retains the lead. Well, I'm going to take a quick break from commentating. We're just going to leave these guys on the chopper cam for a second. Alrighty guys, I am back. We can see the 42 and the 57 battling hard here. Tommy is trying so desperately to get that inside run working, but it's just not quite pulling it off. As we see, Thomas Harmon is actually back in the pits. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but that's not going to be good for his championship run here. I'm not sure whether this was a planned pit stop or not. We see Tommy's trying to get the outside run going on Dylan now. Might get his nose cut off here. Because Dylan is not willing to let this one go. We're watching from Tommy's left front suspension now. He's got the inside run. Can he get the pass made? And he's got it done, going through the dogleg. Tommy Bordeaux chalk him up into position number 1 now. Let's go back and see what's going on with 3rd place. Jaren's got a bit of a gap over Steve in the 13, as we see a few people have hit the pits now. We're going to go back to our leaders. Oh, they're getting so close to the wall there. Dylan's making a big dive down low on Tommy. And he gets the position in turns 1 and 2. That was a power move right there. And Tommy is going into the pits. Tommy's making his green flag stop. This should be the last stop that he has to make for the race. Lap 61 of 90. Dylan's still out there in the lead. Matt Burgess is even in for his pit stop now. So this leaves 3 cars on track, which is Dylan, Jaren and Steve. 1, 2 and 3 respectively. And Jaren has come in for his pit stop now. What's Steve doing? Steve is still out on track and has assumed the 2nd position from Jaren. So when are these guys going to make their last pit stops now? That will be the ultimate question. Dylan's not looking at stopping anytime soon by the looks of things. He wants to run it till it's dry, and I think Steve was just making the hard left turn to go into the pits. I'm not sure. Nope, he's still out on track. It's not often that I'm wrong, but I'll admit when I am. Let's see, does Dylan stop this time? Yes, he does. Dylan's coming in for his stop now. What does Steve do? Does Steve react? Nope, Steve is still staying out on track, which means that Steve Turner has now assumed the lead of this race and will get the bonus points for leading the lap. So all eyes are on Steve to see when he's going to make his pit stop. And that is right now, as we can see, a terrific battle there between 57 and the 38. That's Tommy and Thomas. Commentator's nightmare when these two are racing each other because they're both Tommy and they're both Toms. One's Tommy, one's Thomas. These guys are battling for position. At the moment they're scored as 4th and 5th, but we'll see how things shake out after Steve comes out from his pits. Because I'm pretty sure this might make it the battle for second, if not even the win. So right in front of them is the 41 of Brandon Bennett, who is leading this race, but I don't think he has made his last stop either. In fact, he has pulled out of the way a little bit on the entry of the corner there to let these guys through. He recognises they are faster. So this will put Tommy back into the lead of this motor race. Thomas is in P2. And Brandon Bennett has just come in for his pit stop now, which will promote Dylan up into 3rd, Jaron up into 4th, Robert Collins up into 5th, Steve Turner into 6th, and Matt Burgess into P7. So now that the last pit stop cycle has gone through and run its course, Tommy is starting to build a gap onto Thomas, who is sitting in the 2nd position here. Sitting in P3, still looking good, is Dylan, who is actually coming up to the back of Thomas with his slightly fresher tyres. But you can see the power of the undercut there. See how far in front of Dylan that Tommy is. Tommy's got a 1.7 second margin over Dylan. As we continue to go back through the field a little bit here, we got Jaron in P4, all by himself, just the way he likes to sing it. In P5 we got Steve, who is under no particular pressure as well, but right behind them is a battle between Robert and Matt Burgess. And Matt has gotten that position over Robert, and now he's going to start chasing down the tail of Steve. As we go back and have a look at Thomas Harmon here, he has been caught up by Dylan. Dylan's trying to get that inside run on him. Can he get it done through the dog leg? No, not quite. Dylan slides up a little bit there to try and break the momentum of Thomas. Oh, and Thomas is in the wall. Got into the gas a little bit hard there, and now it's just ruined his entire rhythm. But that does promote Dylan up into the 2nd position and demote Thomas back down into 3rd. As we're going to go and have a look at what iRacing thinks is the most exciting thing on track. And right now that is our leader of Tommy. And now it's gone back to a battle between Robert and the lap down car of Brandon Bennett. And Brandon gets into the inside wall there a little bit. Yeah, it seems things have shaken out pretty evenly there. Just going to go have a look at Jaron now, who I believe is being caught by the 13 of Steve. As we're coming up to complete lap 77. Steve definitely looks like he's closing in on Jaron. Jaron is on slightly older tyres than Steve, to the tune of about 3 or 4 laps. The fastest time in that last lap was actually done by Steve at a 27.3. And now Jaron's just pumped out the fastest time for the last lap at a 27.5. So Jaron does not want to get caught by Steve, because there's a lot of bragging rights between these two. So we go back to having a look at our leader here. He is clear space in front, clear space behind. Doesn't look like he's going to be getting challenged anytime soon. And the gap between him and Dylan has been staying pretty even, so Tommy is looking after his tyres quite well. And Jaron has just pumped the fastest time of the last lap as well at a 27.577. He's pulling away from Steve. And as it stands right now, Jaron is actually going to be the hard charger, because he started from last. And as I say that, Steve has just pumped out the fastest time for the last lap, and he is right on Jaron's butt. Jaron must have hit the wall. He lost 3/10 there, and he is being overtaken by Steve. Can Steve get the position? Can Jaron hold the momentum? Jaron's got the momentum up high, and Jaron held on to position for the start of the lap, but Steve is just too quick down there on that bottom line for him. As I said, Steve does have the slightly younger tyres, but Jaron has the wily determination of a 20-year-old, even though he's much older than that. But as it stands, Jaron would still be our hard charger for the race. He has made 3 positions since the start, which in a small field is not bad. So we're going to go back and have a look at our leaders here, Tommy and Dylan. Dylan is starting to close in on Tommy a little bit. Tommy just did a 27.6 to Tommy's. Dylan just did a 27.6 to Tommy's 27.8. So Dylan has gained 2/10 on Tommy there. Excuse me while I just fail English really quickly. But Dylan lost a little bit of time there on that lap to Tommy. But Tommy has the fast time for that lap. As we're coming in with 3 laps to go now. Next time at the line, Dylan is trying to do everything he can to pull the gap on Tommy. But Tommy's just having none of it. Tommy's just staying nice, calm and calculated. He's been very consistent with the times he's running. And the only other person besides these two in the 27s is the 13 of Steve Turner. And Steve just pumped out the fastest time for the last lap at a 27.7. Not that it's going to mean too terribly much. As we come around to the start finish line, we've got 2 laps to go. Will Tommy make a mistake in these last couple of laps that Dylan can capitalise on? Now Dylan did do the fastest time for the last lap at a 27.8. And Tommy did a 27.8.5. As we come around, white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it. It looks like Tommy has this one all sewn up as he comes through turns 3 and 4 for the final time in this race. He comes through and collects the checkered flag. This is a win for Tommy Bordeaux. Second place is Dylan Alt. Third place will be Thomas Harmon with a very close finishing Steve Turner. Fourth place will be, fifth place will be Jaron Sanchez. Sixth, Matt Burgess. Seventh, Robert Collins. And eighth will be Brandon Bennett. Alright, let's see if Tommy does a burnout. He's lined up for it. No, instead he's going to go do an Alan Kawicki lap. Turns the car around to go backwards. This is also referred to as the Polish victory lap. As we can see down here on the apron, we've got Jaron doing a burnout and blowing it up. Looks like we also had Brandon Bennett down on the apron blowing it up. So congratulations, Tommy, on your win. We are going to take a quick break, guys, and we're going to go catch up with our winners and grinners very shortly. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we have our third place getter, the part time alien Thomas Harmon. Thomas, talk to us about the race, man. I mean, you say that this is one of your bogey tracks, but I'm having a hard time believing you.
Well, with the like I told you during the break, there using the clutch as the brake is not fun in the slightest, since a whole different pressure, different all that fun jazz, and yeah, I slid the tires all night.
Yeah, well, we can see on this little picture that we got of your car, she looks a little bit bent up on the right side there. How many times have you hit the wall tonight?
I think I caught it twice in the race, maybe three times, but that last one there, I didn't think it was going to clip the wall, so I stayed in it and ended up clipping the wall and doing more damage than what I expected.
Well, you know what? I reckon that's a pretty good trade off, only doing it two or three times and still getting a podium.
Yeah, I got lucky with the strategy that I played there. I short pit a little bit, knowing that we could run about 40 laps on fuel. So I used that to my advantage along with the fresh tires after I looped it there. And thankfully it played out in our favor. I wish we could have gotten one caution there with about 10 to go to put us all in freshies, but it wasn't to be.
Now, explain to us what happened with that caution there, because we just missed it. So, what happened when you spun?
Me and Tommy were fighting for the lead there, and or I don't know if it was lead. We would have been coming around for the lead once the pit stop cycled through, but um, I clipped the apron in one and two, and it got sideways, and I thought I saved it, so I gave it the gas again, and it just looped right around onto the left on me, and nothing I could do at that.
Oh, well, that is very unfortunate. All right, man. Before we let you go, is there anyone that you would like to thank?
Yeah, I think Jaron for putting on the league, paying for us to come out here and have fun every week, and you and Rogan up in booth. I don't know if he's here tonight, but um, thanks to you guys for broadcasting it, showing it to everybody, and S2R for putting their name on my.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations on your P3, and we will see you again next week.
I'll be there. Have a good one.
Alrighty, guys. So that was Thomas Harmon, our third place getter. Coming up next, this is only his second race in this league, and he's not very experienced with the B car. Is the 42 of Dylan Alt. Dylan, man, how was your race,
Okay.
man?
At the start of the race, uh, I, I don't know. I just kept hitting the wall. It's kind of annoying. So I
Yeah,
was,
it looked like you were having a very up and down race from our perspective. Like one minute you'd be at the front, and then next you'd be at the back, and we did
I
notice on
just,
that first caution there might have been a little bit of strategy play as well.
yeah, I just could not focus. I don't know why. It was just, it just felt so boring for me. But because there was like not that many cars in that race, so it was like really spread out and stuff. But I don't know why I'm so slow in the Xfinity cars. But anyway, like the Cup cars, I was really fast at. I was one of the fastest every time I had a race. I actually got an NIS win, and so yeah, that caution helped me a lot. I was up to first, got that restart. I stayed in front. Tommy, I don't know how, but he's so fast. So I just pulled to get second. I was catching up to him when he had that when we pit. I was catching up to him. He was when I came out of pits, he was like 2.7 seconds ahead, and then I got up to 1.4 to the end of the race. So yeah, it was kind of fun at the end.
Yeah, we were watching very closely to the last few laps of that race, and you were definitely catching him both on paper and as far as our cameras could see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, man, I wouldn't be too disheartened because the second place is still not bad. I mean, if you were running the entire championship, that would be some great championship points for you.
Yeah, that would. It really would. But I don't know. I'm just looking for wins right now because I started late. So I want to just see where my speed is, see everyone else's speed, see who I have to look out for. And right now I'm looking out for Steve and Jaron and Thomas and Tommy. Those are yeah, a couple of the fastest guys.
Oh yeah, they're definitely the fast guys, especially Thomas. He's a part-time alien, and if you didn't notice.
Yeah, I raced him a lot. The only time I only see him in races is like the street stocks at Charlotte. He's always in front. But yeah, everywhere else I raced with him a bunch of times. But yeah, it was overall it was a fun race.
Alright, man, before we let you go again, is there anyone that you'd like to thank for allowing you to come out and race here today?
Jaron for um, showing me this league and stuff. It's pretty fun, and uh, you for broadcasting, and Jaron just hosting this race and this league. It's, yeah, and my team, American Eagle Sim Sports.
Alright, awesome, no worries, man. Congratulations on your P2, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, so that was the 42 of Dylan Alt, second place getter today. And now we move on to the winner of today's event. Didn't look like he was too comfortable with it, but he was doing the job nonetheless. The number 57 of Tommy Bordeaux.
How's it going, Corey? Good to see you here again.
Oh, it's doing pretty good, man. How are you doing? How was your race?
I'm doing fantastic. I'll tell you what, the TommyBordeaux.com Mustang was fast today. It was a tight battle up front, pretty much all race long. There was no breathing room. And it was a good race. Thomas and Dylan were up there all race long, and we had a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what, it was a close one. I didn't know if I was going to pull it out, but just hit a little bit earlier than Dylan. Got on some new tires, was able to kind of make a gap there. And well, I'll tell you what, it feels good to go in victory lane again, especially here at Phoenix.
Yeah, well, it looked like that undercut was definitely the deciding factor for this race. But towards the end, I reckon if there was another 10 laps, you probably would have been in a little bit of trouble.
It certainly would have been tight. Dylan was coming. He was faster than me, probably on those old tires. But just luckily held on long enough and got the job done. It's so exciting to win here again. And I love winning, and I love having good points days. And that's what I've done the last 2 weeks, and it feels pretty good, I got to tell you.
Well, man, it looked pretty good from our perspective, and I'm sure if you go watch back, you'll see how close it was starting to get.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing that for sure.
Alright, man, who have you got to thank since you're here?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I got to thank Jaron for putting on a league. He does a great job here. You for broadcasting, Corey, you always do a great job. And fellow racers out here, we had a very clean race tonight, only one yellow. That's exciting. Austin Hakes, my teammate, Joseph Weaver, everybody at the Fast Racing League as well. What a phenomenal race for the TimeBordeaux.com Mustang, and I'm looking forward to next week at home.
Alright, awesome, man. Thank you very much for your time, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Alrighty, guys, so that was our winner, Tommy Bordeaux. Now, finally, we make our way through to the Hard Charger, and tonight's Hard Charger award goes to league owner and operator, the number 4 of Jaron Sanchez.
How's it going?
Not too bad, man. How are you, and how was your race?
Man, this is not a really good track for me. I was just struggling to be consistent the whole race, and I pretty much finished where I thought I would maybe finish, but I definitely had to try really hard, which is not a whole lot of fun.
Now, it looked like we had a little bit of a look at you towards the end of the race there, as Steve was starting to catch you and then caught you. Do you reckon maybe if you just pitted a little bit later, you could have held him off?
Probably, yeah, he pitted a little bit later than me, but nah, I don't know. He probably would have passed me anyway. He's definitely better on me in this kind of tracks for sure.
Now, it's not very often that we get to talk to you, because, you're usually so busy with running everything and running out of fuel.
Yep.
So how do you think the season has been progressing so far, like, just all in all? Like, what is your opinion on how this season's been going?
It's pretty good, except for me, but I like the way it's turning out. We got a few different guys winning. Only thing is our car count's kind of gone down. We got a lot of people having to drop out because of family or personal issues or computer problems, and it all just happening out of nowhere here. So I'm gonna have to start seeing what I can do to get some more cars in these races. But other than that, it's been a pretty good season so far.
Yeah, definitely from a broadcasting point of view, it's definitely been a very good season. There's been a lot of close racing, a lot of really good races, and
Hmm.
even when the car count's been down, you guys have really been stepping up and just taking this above and beyond.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of low cautions in these races. A lot of the races going green, and that's what makes it a lot of fun. Even this race, one caution. Um, I wish we had another caution later on so I can catch up to the field a little bit more again. But no, it's been pretty good. We got a good group of racers here. It's just unfortunate that so many have had to drop out for a little bit here. But hopefully we can get the car count back up and make it a lot more fun.
Yeah, well, here's to hoping, man. Well, anyway, is there anyone you'd like to thank since we got you here and talking to us for a change?
Oh yeah, my wife, my daughter, my dogs, you guys in the booth, or actually you today in the booth, and all these drivers that come out every week, especially, man, making it fun. It's not a lot of fun putting on a league unless people come out and race. So thanks to all the drivers coming out and racing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks to my fuel man keeping fuel in the car nowadays. It's pretty nice. Had to fire the old fuel man. He don't know how he's going to provide for his family through these holidays, but you know what? That's business. Got a new fuel man. He's putting gas in the car. So
Or maybe you should have traded him with Thomas's fuel, man. So that way Thomas
yeah,
could struggle a little bit.
yeah. But anyway,
Alright, well, thank you very much for your time, Joan. We'll see you here, same bat channel, same bat time next week.
all right, Corey. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, so that is going to end our broadcast here. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Alyssa, for your support of Jaren as per normal. And for myself, we will see you guys next week.